Right,
Let's go
here
with it.
we go. Hello everyone, welcome to the Chat of Fury, our weekly live stream post-session discussion where we talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the chat for session 3. If you've not watched that session yet, you won't understand that reference. Go do that now. I am not your DM, I am a mere player, Eric, and here is your dungeon mistress, Heather.
Why, hello, once again, foolish mortals. Welcome to the Chat of the Furious.
Also joining Chris and Raymond.
Way to, jump ahead there. I was gonna say that, but sure, okay. So, yeah. You know what? You just do this. Where do you want to start?
I have a lot of questions.
And I have so few answers.
I guess the first starting question, and I don't know
if you can blame Stan and Nate.
Blame them for everything. So it is my first question. It is a really ballsy move, and I'm very curious on how you got there. To A, jump us into new characters, just like a time jump, but then B, to do a literal time jump to like days later that we don't even realize is happening until halfway through the session. I thought that was fascinating. I was like, I didn't even realize that it was like days later until I think like the lady said it or something.
Yeah, they went up days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that? What was you thinking there?
Well, initially, I thought it was going to be funny to have you guys be this like super confident and cocky party coming in, sent in to again map the forge by the same dude who's like that first group is just dead. Because again, the little sprite's been taking notes. You don't know what the sprite's been doing with that information.
Oh yeah.
And just have y'all come in like there's like nothing. You just see dead bodies covered in snow. Like you breeze through everything. And then I thought, well, then I could enjoy the bridge again. That would be really entertaining because now there's not a boar with 4-foot tusks to save anybody. But then Eric told me that would not be fair and that not nice. So then I had to come up with a different idea to get you all in there. And
probably wouldn't have been very time aware either, because it feels like you kind of cutting us in the middle. Was a time saving move.
Yeah, kind of was. I knew where we needed to go. I did not expect y'all to play with the blood trails for that long, but
deciding where to go.
Yeah,
that you'll find as GM. That is always something that like a player's just making a stupid fucking left-right decision.
Yeah.
Always takes the longest time.
Yeah, it does. Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all made the mistake of touching the damn door again, so that works for me too.
Although you what do you call it? Tricked us this time because the blood trail led into that door, so we were like, oh, well, maybe the door. Whoever touched it, I think it was Rochelle. It's like, oh, maybe the door isn't electrified anymore because there's a blood trail going into it. So someone must have opened it at some point. But no, it's still electrified.
Yeah, don't forget,
just the trap after they closed it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they reset it. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't forget, some of y'all did hear a pig, well off in the distance. So you don't know if you're alive or if you're dead.
That's true. We did hear a pig. So yeah, our other characters could be alive.
Forgetting what pig this is. What pig?
The pig that my character was riding.
Oh, Stingbat's pig?
Yeah, Piggy.
Yeah.
So at least Piggy is alive. the most important member of the team.
But yeah, the location for you guys to come in hilariously came to me about 5 minutes before the game started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know where I'm going to put y'all in it, but you're coming in. And then I found that little room, which was going to be the Christopher torture room, where it was going to be everyone passes out except for your character. And then it's a series of questions to torture you about who plays what character and who did what as whose character.
It's all women-based.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
What woman is this?
Yes.
A bunch of pictures.
Which of your friends played this character?
Yeah, right.
And then everyone that you got wrong, spikes would come out of the floor, and you see your friends go,
Stab.
Oh God.
and go back in.
That is true torture. That
Yeah.
would be something else.
Yep. And I was like, well, I'll just use it for something else. That's fine. So that's how you guys ended up in the kitchen, or what
Okay.
was collectively what became the kitchen.
And that room, did we even see that room as the other characters? Or was that room
Nope.
locked off earlier?
It was locked off.
Okay.
So
I
one
do
other
like the
question.
Yeah.
idea of how it's kind of, I'm going to assume our other characters are just gone, but just kind of ending it, not worrying about what happened to them.
It's interesting. I like the idea of like, because what it's done is created this space where we can like test out a couple different characters in almost the same space, the
Mhm.
same dungeon, and see how that rolls. So yeah, it was fascinating. Yeah.
That's how my brain works sometimes.
Was there ever a scenario where we were gonna keep playing those characters into this, the first characters into this session, or like immediately after that, were you always thinking like, okay, we need to end their career and start these other characters just at the start of the next session?
When Reese died, and the rest of y'all were basically dead, Vazul was rolling death saves. I think Snigbat had the most hit points out of all of you, not including Piggy. I was just like, it's not going to it's going to be a painful slog at the very beginning of the session for me to go through, finish killing you, and then having to reset and start with these new characters. So honestly, if that fight had gone better in y'all's favor last week, yes, there was a real possibility to continue on with those characters, and I would have brought Reese in a different way. But because the characters were so low in hit points, and we ended it with 2 fully healed orcs on the outside, I was just like, and you don't know where they went. You can tell that there was some kind of a battle, and they did not go quietly, but you don't know where they went. Well, you kind of know where they went, but not how far they went.
Right.
So for me, it was
That's a good point. Like if the intention was that like, okay, this fight is mortal and you guys probably aren't gonna live, it would have been another 30,
Yeah.
45 minutes of us fighting those the
Yeah.
remaining orcs.
We wouldn't have lasted that
And
long.
then
Well, yeah.
yeah, and then if one of you survived out of all, it would have just been like really awkward to have one of you survive. It would have made it a lot more awkward, and I feel like it would have stunted the activity that we could have gotten through for the night.
So you were more interested in like the new characters. You were more interested in like the dividing line of like, all right, you've played your first characters and here are your second characters versus the like, well, let's see how long this first character goes until they drop dead.
Yeah, and to me, it was finding that line where, again, had y'all like the very first part of that fight where y'all were just kicking ass and taking names and it had all gone that way, would never have had you guys roll up your second characters to level 4.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but as soon as I saw that it started going real bad, I was like, we're gonna cut this off at the kneecaps. Nobody's got kneecaps anymore. So
I don't know what TV show I'm thinking of. Maybe Lost would do stuff like this, where it would be like there's like big action and it ends on a cliffhanger, and then when it comes back, it's like a totally different story, and it's just doing something else entirely. It's like, okay, I haven't connected back to the original story yet.
I feel like Witcher was kind of like that, right?
Yeah, Witcher did some of that.
You're watching it and you have no idea what happened in the next episode. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, where are we at now? We're somewhere else. Yeah.
So that's kind of just where my thought was, and then I was like, all right, well, let's just bring in this new group that I'll slowly introduce because I thought it was a little bit more interesting that way. You just were all thrown together in the dead of winter up in the spine of the world.
Yeah.
You can't really see what each other looks like with the wind whipping around. And your first real chance to see each other was when you came down to a fire pit.
Yeah. Which I guess this is a good time to ask the question of, I mean, we've had at least one session with each character, like which of the characters you like more so far of your characters, I guess, to play.
Yeah, that'd be a good question for y'all. I know which, so far with the two groups, both groups are so distinct because of the characters.
Yeah.
But this new group is funny as friggin' hell with having 3 fighters, so having 3 of those cocky fighters. And yeah, it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
And I gave you a bunch of
Roleplay-wise,
sites that way you could see.
yeah. Roleplay-wise, I could see myself doing Epsilon a lot longer than I could do at Snigbat, because Snigbat's like intentionally annoying, so it's like that can only last for a few sessions, you know?
Mhm.
But I feel like I could drag the Epsilon thing out for quite a while, you know?
I liked everybody's first characters more, except for you. I like
Yeah.
your second character more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chat's loving your second character. They
Yeah.
love Evil Chris.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you put a lot of flavor on all the stuff you were doing, which was fun.
Right.
And showing off how fucking strong a cleric is. You're using like all
cleric's
those
pretty-
abilities.
yeah. That
Mhm.
spiritual weapons is a great spell.
It's
man.
a great. It's like one of the best spells in the game for its level. And like I said, no concentration. It just bonus action always attacks. Like it's
Yep.
so damn good.
Yep. It's just something to do with your bonus action every turn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
like when I played that Celasta game, I had a main cleric that whole time, and he would do that one, and then the one that I think does require concentration is that Spirit Guardians, which he has that big
Yes.
aura around it, like auto attacks everything.
Yeah.
And like those two spells, like you're just so fucking powerful. And there's like second and
Yep.
third level spells or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
was a
I
fun
feel
one.
like I could play it in perpetuity for a full campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out. I don't know if I've got a full feel of everybody's characters thus far in terms of the second set. I do like that Reese is playing this new guy like the Tick, just this
Mhm.
like this perpetually
Kind of
just
Naive, dim,
like
but good natured.
naive, good natured
strong
dude.
guy.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I do like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like your Gazlo a lot. Like
Mhm.
that's a fun character.
Yeah, that was a
And I
fun
do,
character.
and I do
Yeah.
like the.
I like playing
the
rogues, but there's
slow-
obviously a lot less options.
Yeah, yeah.
In that
And
fight,
do
especially, I was
the
like, I'm just gonna stay back there.
slow-talking, Visual. who's
Yeah.
just-
Sweet elephant.
Mhm. But yeah, so we're following in our other characters' footsteps for a little while.
Mhm.
I also do like that we basically both parties did the same NPC encounter,
Mhm.
which I only realized halfway through. I was like, "Oh right, this is the
It's the
same
same
two
ones.
ladies."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
That was the thing. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, how long are we gonna? That's where meta knowledge comes in, because it's like, all right, we need to ask them all the questions, but also we spent a long time with these characters,
We already
with
know
these
all
other,
the
with our
answers.
other characters.
Yeah.
So do we really need to go through this whole thing again?
Yeah.
Which, as it turns out, as we were doing it, I was like, okay, this is more just like role play for the character's sake than it
Yeah.
is for the story's sake. I was like, all right, so
Mhm.
basically we're gonna role play for as long as it takes for us all to do our little character, and like, here's our character bits, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna move on.
Mhm. I also wanted to again still provide that level of we have a reason to be here. It's not just a we dropped in, we found you, and now we can leave type of a thing.
Yeah,
We've won D&D. No,
the level is beat.
we have. So again, still providing that quest,
Yeah,
if you will, to get what we need.
yep, yeah.
We're never gonna
I think
find
we
that
spent-
stupid late sister or whatever.
We're never gonna find the sister.
It takes us a whole session to go like 2 rooms.
Yeah. But we spent a lot of time debating about which direction to go with the blood trail.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah.
till we found out one room was electrified, the other room was empty.
Yeah, there's
And
bad
then-
things in all the rooms.
Yeah, and then we
Mhm.
finally got to what I guess is like what's the word for a hound keeper? There's a word for that.
Kennel master or something.
Kennel
or
masters,
hound master.
yeah.
Whatever name you want to say it.
And the way that this level is written, that guy is actually really supposed to be like the big boss for this level.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, he hits real hard.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's supposed to be the big boss for this level. So does that terrify y'all more for what I have left over for the last room?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Are we gonna get a chance to even like short rest?
I'll give you a short rest.
Okay, that'll help the fighters a lot because they'll get
Yeah.
all their shit back.
Mhm.
That was one funny thing about this fight is because I don't know if it's the way we did it or the way the tokens ended up being placed. We really like tunneled it.
Yeah.
So the fighters got all the damage, and I took 0 except for the little.
Same
tiny
here.
bomb.
You and me didn't get hit at all. Yeah, we played the tank part, which
Yeah.
I guess is part of having 3 fighters too. They can just tank all
Right.
that damage, and they were looking pretty bad.
So no damage.
Well, I mentioned during in that fight, I was like, I didn't expect to be like the ranged guy back here, but
Right?
it so happens my cool rogue ability, you can use it at range just as easily as
Throwing
melee.
those slave blades. Yeah.
Yeah.
just-
Back
But
here throwing my things.
Yeah, so that room in and of itself, I did a lot of changes in that room. So I left Great Ulfi, he was part of the original storyline.
Mhm.
Originally in that room, he was supposed to have 2 exceedingly large dire wolves. And so I'm gonna move your token back to that room, hun. So this tiny room with those 3 giant tokens that were all this size.
all large.
Yeah, so it was like this.
Oh yeah, are
is,
direwolves the 2x2?
Yeah, they're
Huh.
very, very big. Looks like I deleted them versus just moving them off the room. But excuse me. So I was like, it's so dumb because you're immediately going to be
Bottlenecked.
stuck
Like,
in the
yeah.
bottlenecked in the hallway.
Yeah.
They're not just gonna come running in the room then. So I'm like, well, that's dumb. And then my diabolical ideologist had the wonderful idea for the death dogs.
Where do those come from, by the way?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
I feel like I've heard of them, but I don't think we've used them in any of our campaigns.
I
Yeah.
don't remember having
So
ever
I
seen
think
them.
they might be from an official source somewhere, but I don't think we've encountered them. So
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
pretty nasty though.
nothing in
They didn't hit for very hard, but they had so many attacks, and they can do that awful fucking
Yeah.
disease.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
2 attacks per turn, and then a disease that like is damage wise. It's a whole other attack
Yeah.
worth of damage, but it also lowers your max by that.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's yeah.
They did their job as Ace has a monster manual. Okay, I didn't even remember
Oh
that.
wow, that's crazy. We've never used them before, though.
Yeah,
We've
that
used
is
most
crazy.
of the
I feel like we've
monsters,
seen almost
yeah.
everything. They did their job as minions though, because literally the boss was just back there throwing those
Yeah.
crit javelins, and
Yeah.
we couldn't get to him at all.
I can't believe that. That was insane.
Oh my gosh.
Olympic.
You did so good with the
javelin
javelins, and then like your first 4 hits with the great axes were misses. So we're like,
Yeah.
this would have been.
I don't
nasty.
even know why I try anymore with great axes.
Well, then you get a crit with the 5th one, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I watch Reese's eyes bug out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we weren't all these 3 fighters, it would have been a nasty ass fight.
Yeah.
Although maybe a sorcerer could have thrown a couple burning hands in the
Yeah.
hallway or something. You know, you don't know how the fight's gonna go
Yep.
at that point.
Yep. We
That
would
feat
have
of
handled
mind.
it.
Oh my god, that feat. I swear to goodness.
That's crazy. Yeah, that
That-
you could
that
just
is
straight up
crazy.
have resistance built in. Holy shit.
It's only 2 of the 3. It's only slashing and piercing.
That's
but
probably the most
all
common
that they-
ones. Yeah.
Those are the more common ones, and
That's incredible.
Otherwise, I would have killed you 3 times over.
How'd you only have a +3 to hit also on this pike? Your fighter really only has a +1.
Well, I made him like Donatello, a little more intelligence based.
Yeah.
So he
Okay.
doesn't have much fighting.
You should have made him a the Eldritch fighter, I think. Doesn't he get to attack with intelligence?
Well,
I might be making that up. I don't
I
know.
also did this like 10 minutes, like during this beginning of session. So
Literally just putting your pants on, like, oh god, I'm here.
To be fair, I gave you all week.
Yeah,
no, you did. You did. I just was familiar. So
yeah.
those who've seen my George character.
So, but yeah, so did some work in there. There was a fifth dog that I took out of the room after a while whenever I noticed the fight going long.
Yeah.
I mean, that's those are the decisions you make, right?
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like, all right, it's not even necessarily like toughness at that point. It's like time.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
initially
all
had taken
how
out.
much- Yeah.
I initially had taken out 4 and 5, but then I put 4 back in just around the corner. Just because I was like, all right, it's still time, but the room is now starting to open up, and there's more ability for them to come in to do additional damage attacks to take out the enemies, and figure it out from there.
Right.
So, but I still left 5 out. I was like, nah, that's a little much. So
Yeah. I'm glad it ended up
yeah.
being the boss being the final thing. 'Cause the one thing I always have an awkward time with is the DM is when you kill the big boss and you can tell the climax of the fight is ending, but like there's still a bunch of minions around, so it's like, all right, now we just need to like wrap the shit up and
yeah. Wee woo.
Yeah.
Wee woo. I did make reference to the fact the bellow echoed down the hallway.
Yeah. I mean,
I was expecting just more orcs to come trotting through and just murder us all, because that was kind of what happened to the last group.
And also, that's the thing that it's really, I found in dungeoneering is a really tough thing to like balance, is the idea that like, yeah, technically anyone in any room could just yell down the hallway
Activate
and
half
alert
the
entire fucking dungeon that there's enemies here. But if they do that, suddenly you've got half the dungeon fighting you.
It is a tricky situation.
In this case, I don't know what else is waiting us, but in this case, your solution was the response is a walking bomb, which just hilariously just had the worst.
And finally, we got a fucking break. I think like the karma aligned in our favor for once.
It was really great. As I'm getting ready to hit the button to roll, you just dropped too. That was great.
I hit it. I think I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, the timing was pretty funny.
You literally said the word explode.
And we're gone.
Boom. And I think I was trying to... Oh, I see what I did. I was trying to click, like, I'm like flipping back and forth between Roll20 and Discord. I went to go hit the Discord, but when you go to the Discord thing on the taskbar, there's a little hang up button right next to the thing. Yeah. And I hit the hang up button on accident.
We blew you out of the internet.
And then you kept joining and then dropping again. And then joining and then dropping. And I was like, man, he really doesn't want to do it. And then I went ahead and rolled, and I rolled so poorly.
2 damage. 2 fucking damage.
That was supposed to hurt you all.
I don't know what. Because I don't.
That's why I chose force damage, so that way Raymond couldn't, cut that shit in half.
I don't know anybody's hit points, but I feel like we had some folks who were hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, your fighters are all hurting pretty bad.
Yeah. But what's interesting is because with their fighters, if we get a short rest, they're basically back up to full strength. Like they've got all their action surges, their second wins, and they can essentially roll all their hit dice because we know this is going to be their final showdown. So
the final countdown.
Now what we lose is all of Chris's spell slots, but apparently you still have a bunch left. So
I got 1 level 2 spell slot left. I used 2 of them in this fight. And then I got all my level 1s, I think.
Wow.
I don't think I used any level 1s. So, yeah. All right.
Well, now you need to make plans for having only this group for next week. Or be out some players.
That was going to be my question to y'all. Did y'all want to attempt to play their characters, and I can leave the plans that I already have created intact, or I can come up with a way for them to... They're both fighters.
Yeah, I feel like they're simple enough characters.
I can take one of them. I mean, I'm a fighter. It's the same.
If you take a look at Rochelle's character sheet, her character name, which was really funny because when I was creating this character, I was like, I'm just making the most basic character, someone who's real easy, and just going to. So if you look at
Was
her
it
name,
literally
her
a
name is
champion fighter? I think that we made.
yeah, it's a little champion, a human
okay.
champion fighter.
Yeah, human
Her
champion fighter.
character, her
The-
character's
Did you
name is
notice her name?
Yub Asic.
Yeah,
I
I
saw
saw.
that.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like Rochelle like based the personality of the character on that pun too, because she spent the entire session going like judging other people.
yeah.
Mhm. And I think today was probably the first day she saw it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
So actually, I'm curious because I'm not positive. Raymond, you were a battle master. I assume because you used your battle tactics twice. Rochelle was a champion. What is Reese?
Reese
Oh yeah.
is.
Good question.
Let's see here.
Did we ever saw him do
And
anything else? Right?
Eric, you're the Psy Blade
Soul
rogue,
knife.
right? Soul knife. There you go.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I actually got
he's-
other things I can do, but it's one of them is like I
He's a-
can. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're fine.
Oh, I can actually establish like a telepathic link between people.
Okay. Yeah.
I have, and then the other thing I can do is if I fail a skill check with which I have a proficiency, I can expend. I have psionic energy dice, but they're only used for A, establishing a link between people telepathically, or B, giving myself a roll on a failed skill check with which I'm proficient.
Okay.
And the other thing is the psychic blades, which obviously I was using
Yeah.
a lot of. So
Reese is also hilariously a champion fighter.
it's just a champion. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Just
Great,
the most
yeah.
basic, like
It
bare
was-
bone.
Yeah. Just hit and hit and hope you hit.
So,
Yeah.
but his fighting style is defense,
Yeah.
where hers is great weapon fighting.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense.
again, still
She
really.
was hitting really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's- They were definitely serving their function as like
Yeah.
like hitting hard and just standing there taking all the damage.
So, like her strength score is a 20.
That's
Like I
impressive.
when I created her
Was that a
character.
roll? That had been a roll, right?
So when I created her character, I rolled exceedingly well on stat rolls for her.
Yeah.
It came out to like 81 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
And so her level 4 was an ability score improvement. So her strength before was a 19. And so I was just like, well, if you could do 1 by 2 or 2 by 1. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do 2 by 1. So up to that one to 20. And then I upped her wisdom, which was a 13, to a 14.
Yeah.
So that gave her an
fill it
extra
in.
wisdoms. Yeah. So I was like, all right, might as well just do that.
I mean,
So-
getting to 20 with your main stat is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a feat.
That's why she can hit so damn hard.
Yep.
So I'm just now noticing too that I don't think she was swinging two-handed.
Oh, really?
I think she was just swinging the first one. I'm scrolling back through to check.
I thought a greatsword has to be two-handed.
No, she has a battle axe. Oh, if she was swinging the greatsword, then yeah,
He was
she
definitely swinging that greatsword.
Yeah. So yeah, she has a battle axe and a greatsword.
Okay. Yeah, so my vote would be we would just control the characters. this
Yeah,
time,
'cause that's
and
pretty
Okay.
You keep your
straightforward.
balance however you've got it, and we'll
Mhm.
just
Okay.
we'll kill those characters.
All right. So I'll give you each one.
Hope we can rescue our original crew.
That's
Or
right.
whoever wants one, just let me know and I will assign them out so that way you'll have access to
I
the
can take
sheet.
Reese's.
Okay. Who wants Rochelle's?
Guess I'll take it. But
Okay.
Chris has the most complex character out of all of us.
I do. I do have a lot of stuff on here. I was like, I will if no one else wants it. But yeah, I didn't even use my feet. My feet is one of those like I took the opposite feat that I took with Valravn. Valravn has the Fate touched. I took the Shadow touch, which gives me like invisibility and fear spells as like
Oh, wow.
innate. So I got more fuel in the tank.
Nice.
Assuming I don't
Yeah.
die.
Bold
It'll be
words.
interesting in the last room.
Yeah.
And this is just, I don't know if you've said
Level
this
1.
before. This is just one level of this dungeon.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
here,
this isn't even the whole level. I cut off half of the level.
yeah. So I was
Wow.
gonna actually mention this because part of this is partially the way we play as a group, right? That we
Mhm.
do these 2.5-hour sessions,
Yeah.
but one shots are not really one shots.
Well,
for
this
us,
isn't a
right?
one shot though. This
Oh, it's
is
not.
no. This is
Mhm.
bigger than that, which is why I think you selected it, right? Because it was a little
Mhm.
meatier. But this was
Okay.
never categorized as a one shot. This is a pretty
Okay.
big, like
Okay.
large dungeon crawl.
Yeah, this
Gotcha.
is a yawning portal dungeon
Like
crawl.
a whole
Yeah.
dungeon.
Even
Okay.
for
Okay.
those folks that run these 4 and 5 hour sessions, it still takes them like 3 or 4 sessions to run this whole whole
Gotcha.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's 4 levels to this whole dungeon.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And y'all are in 2/3
Yeah, I
of the
didn't.
top
Yeah, I
level.
didn't know it was this going to be this grueling about like we're crawling
Yeah.
through, going this slow. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was a bigger affair.
Mhm.
Yeah, and once I realized the speed to which I was just like, "All right, I'm just gonna cut this whole third off because I
Yep.
don't need you going this way yet."
Now
That's
here's
kind
good.
No, I was gonna say that's kind of the way that it always goes, is that you end up cutting stuff because it always moves slower than you think it's gonna move.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can answer this, but are you? Is this going to be a finale next week, or is it going to be like a we're ending this for now and coming back to it? In other words, and I guess the follow-up question is that are you enjoying the way this dungeon and this adventure is structured enough to return to it with the same setup or similar, or do you want to say like, okay, I've done this and I'm kind of done with it and I want to bring it to
So
an
the answer is kind of yes to all of it.
end?
So it really depends on how next week goes, honestly, with how it'll end. I have the stopping point for me in mind. I know where it's going to stop. I know how it's going to stop. Um, if one or all of you survive the next room. Um, I'm kind of pulling back a little bit because I kind of want you all to survive the next room because I want you all to see how I have it planned to end.
Hey, you're falling into
Um,
the trap that me and Eric both fall into. You want, like, even though maybe you started wanting to be like a grindhouse style, you fall into the power fantasy of like, oh, I like these characters. I want to see them. I want to see them succeed.
Well, you also want to see
but
them. You also want to
it's
see them
not.
unlock the content that you
Yeah, yeah.
create,
I
though.
made
Too.
this whole
It's
level. I
not
want.
so much that I want to see y'all succeed. I just want to see your faces whenever it ends the way that I have it in my
You
mind.
just need to make
Yeah,
it to a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
point.
Yeah,
You want to see your story play out. That's
Yeah.
totally
yeah,
fair. Yeah.
yeah. So again, it really depends on how next week's confrontation goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a really great time doing this and doing this kind of like grindhousey type uh adventure with everyone because it's different. It's not what we're used to type of
Yeah.
a thing. Um, I would love to come back to it eventually and maybe make it worse. Um,
Oh, no.
if give me like 6 months to prep, yeah, this will be real fun.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Nate, Stan, you guys.
Well, and
And
that's
there are whole one shots that are designed for just like, okay, let's just see how long you last. Like you're not
Mhm.
even the intention is never to even reach the even close to the end of the
Yeah.
dungeon. It's just
and
go
that was
until
like
you
the tomb. That
die.
was the
And
original Tomb of Horrors, I think, and part of those death
right.
trap dungeons
Yeah.
was like these are designed to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would if things go the way that I think that they will go, and you make it to the ending that I have in mind, it
These
leaves
are
it
all ifs.
open. Yes, these are all big ifs. It leaves it open for everyone to be able to come back to this environment and pick it up and play again in the future if we decide we want to go that way or if we decide we want to go a different way. It provides a level of ending as well too. It's like that cliffhanger, but not really the cliffhanger. It could go either way
Yeah.
depending on how you view it. It's the Sopranos ending, you know, where the
it just goes to black. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what happens next? You decide.
yeah, or Seinfeld.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
nice. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm down with that. I like this Death Cleric character. I'll say that.
Mhm.
I enjoyed him tonight. So
I'm really interested to see how he plays in the next room.
yeah,
When faced
The
with death.
the next room is going to be interesting with what I have in there. And I've made
yeah.
quite a few changes
Hmm.
to this next room.
Forward to that chat of fury then.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
That final play.
All right. Anything else for the chat of fury for session 3 of Bridge of Fury?
See what she's got for next week.
Yeah. Right. And I updated our names finally. I'd really feel bad about not doing that. We've been staring.
I mean, I took away your ability to see the other character
I
sheets.
know. It just didn't occur to me to update our I haven't had to update our names except for when we changed campaign. So it didn't just completely
Yeah.
left my brain that I have to
Literally-
update our names in the middle of this campaign.
When you started doing your intro spiel about like, oh, 5 characters on the top of the mountain looking for a secret entrance, that's when I noticed like, oh, Snakeback's not even in the character list
Yeah.
anymore.
You just
Okay,
don't even have
this is-
access to that
this
sheet
is-
anymore.
This is where we're going.
Yep.
Yep.
The sheets do still exist, so
Yeah,
they're
Good.
there.
You didn't burn them digitally.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just archived.
Mhm. They've been put in a file folder for later.
Yep.
All right, I think that will do it for this week's chat of fury.
Mhm.
Thank you to Heather, Chris, Raymond. I'm Eric. Thank you to all the wonderful fans for watching. We will see you all next week for our grand finale of Fury.
Whee! Maybe I'll try to find music for the last episode.
It's funny how everybody's like, "There's no music."
No, I've been saying this for 3 weeks
But
now.
you had music last week. That's the confusing part. There was music playing at the beginning. I don't remember
Yeah,
what
I
it
hit the
was.
play button and never started, so I don't know
Okay.
what. Maybe it's something with my...
I could hear it. Yeah. Okay. That's
okay.
Wolfman's
You
weird
dare
music.
me to TPK you next week. Okay.
I was talking to the chat, but
Uh-huh. 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 Yeah, I see it too.
I guess you do. Yeah. So sure, you too. Bring it
right.
on.